One of the biggest misconceptions at the Lake of the Ozarks is that the best time to come here and be a tourist and rent a place is Memorial to Labor. That is unequivocally wrong, and it is getting more and more wrong because the Lake of the Ozarks is becoming a 365 destination. And I think there's no better way to exemplify and show that than that it's hot tub season.
It's hot tub season.
And we are at one of Grand Welcome's longest tenured rentals that we're going to show an update on. But Zach, what are your thoughts about that? Anybody that just has completely overlooked fall being a time to come to the Lake of the Ozarks, or winter, or spring?
Dude, I think you're missing out on the best time of the year. And look, summer's great, it's hot, lake season, boats, I get it. But here's the reality. Right now, you've got this big open lake, and you can come out here, especially during the week, just enjoy a good boat ride. The leaves are going to start changing here, let's say the next 15 days.
Yep.
You're going to have a great time. It's hot tub season, baby.
Yep.
And the nights are starting to cool off, which is fantastic. And it's like, who doesn't want to come sit in a 7-person hot tub and hang out?
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
I mean, it's not always ideal to sit in a hot tub with just 2 dudes, but not that we're judging.
No judgment here, buddy.
So, on that note, and you mentioned it, the best time of year. Jesse says that, the best time of year. Now, I know a lot of Lake of the Ozarkers are going to disagree, but here's the reason. If you've been coming here for any number of years, you know how summer is. It's crazy busy, which is cool. It's fun. It's just so much to do. There's still a lot to do in the off season, and it is so calm and so peaceful. And as it is at the day of this recording, it's a 90-degree day.
Yeah.
So you get plenty of days that you can still boat, but while also having just the calm and serene, because pretty much everybody just leaves.
Yeah, it's true. And, it's funny you say that. At Bike Week this year, which was last weekend?
At the time of this recording?
Yep. So we were at 100% occupancy during Bike Week.
Wow.
100% occupancy.
Which is in second weekend in September.
Right. So every property we had was booked, which is insane. Yep. And I think, so the misconception that no one comes here in the off season is also not true, right? But there are a lot of people that come. But the boating opportunity was huge. And then you got, like I said, you come here, you sit down, you sit by the campfire, you can enjoy something like this. And these properties with hot tubs, man, they're going to go quick too. Because what's more fun than you're coming here, the nights are cooling off, they're in the 60, 70 degrees. Yeah. You could sit right here.
We're getting down into the 50s and 40s now.
Oh, yeah, it's true. It's great. I can say that, this is one of the homeowners that we've worked a lot with. And I remember at the beginning of this whole adventure, he's like, man, what's something we can do to add revenue to our property? What are some things we can do? And I said, look, there's 2 things that really can drive additional revenue instantly. A, you allow pets. So you allow pets, that's one thing. Second thing is hot tubs. And the reason is not for the summer rentals, it's the off season. It's the March, April rentals, and it's the September, October, November rentals. And there's a massive misconception that I think people can't make money in the off season here. They can. September's been great for most folks. You got to price appropriately. You got to know how to price. You got to make sure that you're competitive in the marketplace, and you got to make sure that you've got things that people want to do. And this homeowner's proving that, right? You got this hot tub, you got the outdoor activities, you got the grills. It's fantastic. You could literally book this place and never leave.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's most restaurants now stay open all year.
Yeah.
And if not all year, oftentimes they're open on the weekends, which is when you're typically going to come down anyway.
Yep.
And there's so many things to do that just don't require you to have a boat down here anymore.
Have you seen Chimp Crazy on Netflix?
No.
All right. So go look it up. It's called Chimp Crazy.
Chimp Crazy.
I believe that's the name of it. If not, we'll edit it in the video, I'll tell you. But there's a petting zoo in Sunrise Beach now. It's on MMTT, and they are open right now. It is one of the most fun activities to do with kids ever. And that lady has a show. I think it's called Chimp Crazy, and she's on it.
Oh, shit, I didn't know that.
It's fantastic. So yeah, there are things to do, and there's stuff to do. The other one, if you like coffee or wine, either one, Wineries are super available right now. In fact, I've got some friends coming down in October, and we're going to go on a winery tour.
Nice.
And then we've got Firefly. If you haven't been there,
Yep.
you could literally go there. So we had guests here. We sent them to Firefly. Dax will set you up with a coffee tasting, and he'll get you going. I mean, you can get you a nitro brew coffee, blue man. I mean, you'll be good to go. Like there are things to do that are a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. Fall, winter, spring, fantastic times to come to the Lake of the Ozarks, and I think you just need to come down and try it for yourself.
I would encourage anybody to do that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you know what I think we need to do is also, speaking of fall, the first time we ever interviewed you was a year ago fall.
Mhm.
You've come a long way in a year, so let's get out of this hot tub because it's hot
It's
today.
hot. It's hot.
And let's talk about where Grand Welcome has gone in the last year.
Love to, man.
Now that we are all dry out of the hot tub, it's time to do a update on Grand Welcome, which, by the way, has been absolutely incredible. So for those of you that have been with us for at least a year, you might remember a video from about a year ago where we introduced Grand Welcome to the Lake of the Ozarks, which is a short-term rental company. You already know this by now, but what you don't know, may not know, is that last year we did this video, 0 properties that you managed.
Goose egged.
And now you're at almost 40.
Close, yeah.
And so there's been a lot of lessons learned. You've got a lot of advice to offer to anybody who's considering not only renting their property, but to renters. So we've already established that the lake is becoming 365. It's not just summertime anymore. We displayed exactly an example of what you can do at one of these properties by, hot tubbing, and there's so many things to do off the water. We are going to display this property that we are at, White Oak Landing. But first, Zach Vavac back with us. Thank you, brother. We don't get Katie here. We don't get the face of the franchise.
I know, the best part we missed.
But, dude, I'm so freaking excited for you guys and your growth. And so, dude, give us an update. What's going on?
Man, a lot has happened. So, we did that video a year ago, and I was thinking back on that, prepping for this thing. When we started the company, we had some experience short-term rental management. It's not like we came into this thing with nothing, right? But the reality is, the challenges don't always come with knowing how to do the process. It's scaling that process as you get bigger and grow. We never intended on being at 40 by the end of the year. Our goal was always 15 to 20, and we'll really cut our teeth. And as we went through the process, we realized that what we were offering was different than others were offering. And it's different in that we took a new age approach to all this. I mean, think about hiring an influencer, or just getting to know you and learning what you do, and then the video, all of that was new age stuff. People don't do that here at the lake, and it's been powerful for us. Thinking about our word, we've gone to the media outlets and had those discussions. We've been open with homeowners about the challenges that they're going to face their first year in this, and we've got a lot of new people who were a little afraid to take the first step to do this. It's why you would hire a property management company here, because you're nervous about the pricing, and you're nervous about bad guests, you're nervous about damage, or you're nervous about even just what do I need to provide people while they're here to make a good experience. And so Katie and I have spent a pile of time and energy learning more about that. We've read across all 30 platforms that we market on. We've probably read 300, 400 reviews over the year, right? And we take all of that feedback in, and we're like, okay, how do we get better? And the first year, you have a property, and I look back at our first year when we had our property, I forget how much we learned, and just going through that. And every house is different. Every homeowner is different. Every HOA is different. Mm-hmm. And so we've taken in feedback. We've changed our listings. We've adjusted things in the properties. White Oak Landing is a great example of that, where and maybe we can splice some old video in too,
Of course.
Because this homeowner first year, phenomenal people, and they wanted to create a really great experience. And so throughout the year, we kind of said, hey, these are the things that we're hearing. Here's what we're listening from guests. Here's what they're saying you need to do. And they have responded. And because they've responded, they're getting more outreach, more people asking questions. Their reviews are just getting better and better and better. And the comments we're getting from people are better and better. And I think that's what this is about. And if anyone thinks that they're going to get into this and it's not a journey, they've missed the point. It's a journey.
Yeah, it's an evolution. Everything evolves. Right?
Everything evolves. And if you're not evolving, you're losing.
Dying.
You're dying. Yeah.
So I want to rewind a little bit, because obviously in the very first video, which I'm not going to assume everybody saw that or even knows. So I want to know where you are today. And so, I know in the beginning it was like, this is going to be our fee and this is going to be kind of our structure and this is how we do things. Where are you today? What does somebody pay Grand Welcome to manage their property? What do they get when you manage said property?
So our fee has definitely gone up throughout the year. Just the expenses of the platforms have gone up. So we're at between 20 and 25% today. It just depends on the size of your property, the amount you want to rent it. That's one thing I learned personally. I said, hey, let's one price, let's do it. We did that, and it was great. We got a lot of great homeowners, and what we learned through that is that, hey, there are just homeowners that just want to rent it sometimes. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. At the end of the day, Katie and I have expenses. We have overhead in every property. A lot of people don't realize we pay just to keep it on the platforms and to keep customer service reps, paid for, to keep the inquiries answering. Like, all of that is an overhead cost that we pay. And that cost increases the less you rent it. So the more you want to rent, the lower the cost. So we're really fair about it. We kind of talk to the homeowner, we get their goals, and then we really just try to narrow in, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to cover? I'll be the first to tell you, I've told homeowners that I bite myself sometimes. I'm like, man, why did I do that? But it's the right thing to do, I think. I told them, you're not going to make what you want to make. You're not going to make it. Like, after you pay me and after we pay the expenses in this thing,
in other words, you're not going to tell people what is going to necessarily get you the client. You're going to be completely honest with them. So in other words, if somebody was considering this, you're going to be straight, forthright, and say, I don't think this is a good idea unless you're willing to lose money.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to be upfront. Like, this is what I think you're going to make, and I hope I beat that. But the reality is, we don't know what the season's going to offer. Here's what I do know. I know historically what it's done. I can look at a lot of numbers. I have databases that we can go into. I can compare it to other properties, and then I can say, hey, this is where I think you're going to land. And some people are like, hey, thanks for telling me, I appreciate it. And secondly, no one wants to get through the season and have someone not happy. Like, no one wants to do that. It's me, they don't. So it's better just to be like, hey, this is where we're at.
Yeah. So what is included? So in the fee, what are you all doing for the homeowner?
Perfect. So we manage the listing, which means we create it. We take professional photos. If you haven't seen our listings, go look at them. In my opinion, is what it is.
It's a good opinion.
In my opinion, we have the best listings, and I'll tell you why. We hire the best photographer. We hire some of the top folks at the lake to help us understand that. We've consulted with interior designers. We've consulted with Airbnb experts across the nation, other franchisees that we work with day to day that have been doing this for a long time. We spend a lot of time doing that. And so when you come to me, I'm going to tell you honestly where we're at based on the market. And I think because we've done all that, our homeowners are like, hey, I appreciate that advice, even if it's not what they want to hear.
So what is included? So photography.
Photography, full management. So we come to the property, we inspect it.
Stop there. You started on photography. What does that really mean? So you're taking pictures, you're posting it where? Where does this get posted?
Oh, so across 30 websites. So marketing's huge. Not only do we post it on social media, not only do we post it on, like with Lake Expo, not only post it with you, we also post it on 30 websites from Airbnb and VRBO, which people know, but Booking.com, Travelocity, all the new sites that are coming on, we post it on all of those sites.
Which is critical because a lot of people who try to do this by themselves are just posting at one or two places, which really limits the potential reach, also limits the dynamic pricing ability.
Absolutely, and your SEO. So what most people think, well, like when you're searching for a property to go to Lake of the Ozarks, think about it. If you've never been here before, the first thing you do is like, Lake of the Ozarks, what do you do? Like, that's usually where you start. Somewhere in the, I want to go to Lake of the Ozarks. And then you're going through this like web of things. What am I going to do when I'm there? What's available? And then you're like, oh, where do I stay? What do you Google it? Places to stay, Lake of the Ozarks. Well, if you're on one site like Airbnb, you're limited on your SEO. Because the way we do it, it's a really good chance you're going to find a grand welcome property when you type that in. So if you type in, Sunrise Beach, Lake of the Ozarks, where to stay, White Oak Landing is going to pop up.
Yep.
And you're going to be like, oh, great, like that's a place I can stay. We get a pile of folks who have saw us on, Travelocity because that's what popped up first for them. Then they were like, went to Airbnb and found the name because the name's the same. So then they go, oh, well, what about I want to do that on Airbnb, or I want to book that property on VRBO. So there's a lot of that. Full management, meaning you never have to step foot in that property and you should feel really good that it's going to be okay. Like it's going to be cleaned, it's going to be taken care of. If there's a maintenance item, we're going to find someone to fix it or we're going to fix it. We've actually partnered with a local maintenance company to handle the maintenance side. Because if you're at Lake of the Ozarks, and I think anyone who's been here for any amount of time will relate to this, you could hire someone, you could pay them, and they will stiff you. It does happen. I don't know if that's exclusive to here, by the way. I think that's a common thing. Yeah. But at the lake in particular, or you hire someone, you think they did a really good job, or you think they're going to do a really good job, and they don't do a good job. And so we partner with a management company, like a handyman management company, that really is getting good labor. They guarantee the work. They come back when they need to do it. So,
nice. So a homeowner doesn't have to mess with any of that stuff.
They don't have to.
And that stuff's happening all the time when you got renters coming in.
Constantly. There's never a day I don't have somebody doing something.
Yeah. What about like equipping the properties with, like having to keep up with, because I know just having some experience with this, like renters will take things, take things out of the kitchen and things like that. How do you manage and handle all of that?
Yeah, so we take photos of like cell phone photos of everything in the drawers and the cabinets and that kind of stuff. And we do our best to like keep up with all that. Obviously, you're going to hit that 80-90% of the time. You're not going to catch it every time, but you're going to catch most of it. And then when things do break, and it does happen, somebody knocks a picture off the wall by accident or whatever, we take care of those things. I mean, we'll get you a new frame or whatever. Sometimes we work with the homeowners and say, hey, this was an accident. It's a $50 frame. The guest pays a damage waiver. We'll take care of that out of the damage waiver and we move on. Yep. So, and then there are things that happen in your property. Microwave goes out. That's not the guest's fault. Yeah. You got to pay for a new microwave. Sure. Yep. But instead of you having to find the microwave, make sure it's the right size, hire someone to put it in, we'll take care of it.
Even come here if you're not from here. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
which many owners aren't.
Yeah.
What about cleaning?
Take care of that. In fact, cleaning evolved for us. When we were doing our own, it was really fun because we could find a really good cleaner, maybe someone who's retired or whatever that spent time cleaning it, and we didn't really worry too much about it. It was usually pretty good. As we scaled, we realized there's a process as you scale, and so you have essentially 6 hours on a turn. So they check out at 10, new check in at 4. You have 6 hours to inspect the property for damage, fix anything that got damaged, get it cleaned properly, inspect it again before the guest comes, make sure everything's there, make sure it's got toilet paper and paper towels and all the little things that you're going to need, and be ready for the next guest. That's a tight turn if you think about it. 6 hours really is tight.
Of course, yeah. So
we started with hiring local cleaning companies, and a lot of them did a fine job. It wasn't that they were terrible or anything like that. But as we got into it, we had these higher standards that, to be honest, either A, the guests weren't going to pay for, it was going to double the cleaning cost. They weren't going to pay for that. Or B, they just couldn't, really hold up those standards, and they were upfront with us about it. So I said, we got to find a solution to this problem. So we hired a cleaning manager, and she is fantastic. Her name's Kelsey. Anybody that's been here at the lake knows Kelsey from a cleaning perspective. Nice. She came to work for us and managed all of our cleaning. She hired her own cleaning team, and I'm going to tell you, it has changed the way we think about cleaning too. I've learned a lot. And honestly, we had other short-term management companies calling us saying, hey, we hear good things from people, would you clean our properties? So we actually said, let's just start a cleaning business. So Lakeview Cleaning Company was born, and now we have that. And we haven't done any advertising on that, but it's just word of mouth,
Yeah.
and we're using our template and our standards. It seems to be helping a pile. We have a lot to learn. I'll be the first to tell you, but we're actively trying to employ the same thought processes that we had at Grand Welcome into that to say we can be a cut above and pay our cleaners really well and get good results. And I think any of our cleaners would tell you that we pay them well, we treat them well, and we make sure that the properties are taken care of.
Yeah. Yep.
Whether you are looking to buy, sell, rent, invest, vacation, or pretty much do anything at the Lake of the Ozarks, we've got you covered. Just shoot me a message at this number and I will make sure to get you connected to the right people for the job and make sure that your experience or your life at the Lake of the Ozarks is an incredible one.
All right, a couple more things that I want to bring up. One of them probably, well, actually both of them probably lesser known. And obviously one of them is part of the reason why we are together. But every property is getting the most promotion that I think any short-term rental company is doing across the United States. Maybe individual homeowners do something like this. As a company, I mean, you are highlighting, not only you mentioned the professional photos, not only you mentioned the 30 plus sites, we're making like really cool videos for every property. This stuff's getting posted to your socials. They're going to Lake of the Ozarks Lifestyle. Oftentimes your partnership also with Lake Expo. I mean, you are getting the absolute maximum coverage at the Lake of the Ozarks that is pretty much humanly possible.
Yeah.
Which is no other short-term rental is doing that. What are your socials? Where are the best places for somebody to go stalk you and check this out?
Yeah, Facebook's probably the most common one we get. Instagram is great, and then we do TikTok.
And it's called Grand Welcome
Lake of the Ozarks.
on all
Yep.
of them. Okay,
Yep.
perfect.
Yep.
And then your website.
LakeOzarkManagement.com. That's our website. If you go to GrandWelcome.com, you can see our stuff, but that's the franchise website. Lake Ozark Management is a really good place if you're a potential homeowner and you want to learn what we do. If you want to learn, if I missed something even that I talked about here, it explains all that there. So yeah, I mean, that's awesome. Really where we're at.
Now, you also mentioned, and we were talking about sales tax, which I didn't even know what that meant. And so I think that's something important for a listener or watcher and audience to know. Tell us, you handle this, but explain what that means.
So there's a variety of fees, not just sales tax, but there's a variety of fees that come out of short-term rental. And everyone gets their piece. So Airbnb takes their piece, VRBO takes their piece. Everyone knows that, probably. What they don't understand is the way that floats. So Airbnb takes 3% here, and then they take another percent here, and then there's another percent here. And in my pricing model, I don't charge any of that out of the quote-unquote 20 to 25%.
That's covered.
It's covered.
Yeah, so if it rents through Airbnb, you're not paying extra.
Right.
Good to know.
Yeah, so we try to make the pricing simple. This other thing is sales tax, and cleaning and sales tax both are guest fees that they pay. The complexity in sales tax is high because you've got local tax, you've got state tax. There used to be a tri-county board lodging tax, which is no more, which is something that most people didn't even know existed, and then it didn't exist. So we're on top of that. We've hired tax advisors to tell us when these things are happening. Every property has a license, and people don't realize that either. We actually turn all that into the county and say, this is the property, here's where it is. We get an actual license, we hold that license. It's not the same as an STR license like you think in other areas. It's just a business license to short-term rental. And it's something that we manage for our homeowners. It takes this burden of, okay, I made this money. Is there more fees that I'm forgetting about? No, we're going to take the sales tax. So the only taxes you're paying at the end of the year is your income tax, which is on your 1099.
Which is a good problem to have.
Yeah, because otherwise, if you do this on your own, you'd be chasing your tail trying to figure out, all right, well, I'm in Miller County. Am I in this tax district? Do I have to pay this ambulance tax for .0? Like, we just take care of that.
Not to mention all the other things that you'd have to handle if you manage it yourself.
Oh, man. I mean, yeah. And
there's a lot to managing a rental that is probably not necessarily. A lot of people do not want to mess with.
Yeah, I think a lot of people look at this game and go, I could do that, and I think you could. Like, I don't want to be the guy that says you couldn't do it on your own.
Sure.
What I would say
Do
is,
you want to?
That's the question. It's at the end of the year when you are looking at all this stuff, are you like what am I like? Where do I go next, or how do I improve this thing, or like even in Gaster, maybe rightfully so, but you think about the evolution of this short-term rental space. It used to be resorts, like Lake of the Ozarks was all resorts, hotel, right? And then Airbnb picked up. Well, guests are getting more particular about what they see and do in that property. So we are constantly handling that stuff too.
Yeah, I love it. Well, I'll tell you what. Let's take a walk through this property and kind of give them an update, because this is a great example, as you've mentioned, that is evolved. And this property, from what we did, roughly almost probably about 8-9 months ago, is now updated and
It's
changed.
very different,
And there's
yep.
some cool things. So let's go take a walk and give them that. So Zach, they already know about the hot tub, but this property, White Oak Landing, is unique in the sense that it has a really big parking area out here for multiple cars. You've got the fire pit, you've got the picnic table, you've got a couple of grills. What's going on here?
So I'm glad you started with the parking, because that's probably one of the biggest things that happen here is finding a place you can stay with a large group of people and everyone can park. And if you have a boat, good luck, right? So here, unmentioned name just for the privacy of the guests, but we had several shootout teams stay here this year, which is
Really?
awesome. Yep, and they brought really expensive, really big boats, and it was awesome, and they parked them right here. And we can actually show that, but we've had as much as 5 trucks and trailers in here at one time.
Really?
So there's just a pile of room to park and enjoy. It's all a fenced in area, which means you can feel pretty good about where your stuff is. And the neighbors are great. They don't bother anything. They're very much so local folks. They just, want to live their life and enjoy the time here too. So we've had a lot of parking, which is huge here. I'd say the fire pit, which has been here actually, but we put a few more chairs out. The homeowners added some things, which is great. It's a great addition to sitting out around the campfire, enjoying it. So think about, now that we're on the fall season, what do you do in the fall, Jeff, when you come to the lake? You hang out by the fire, you get in the hot tub, you grill out. That's what you do, right? You'll hop in the lake maybe if it's still warm enough. And it's a great spot to just hang and be outside. They added this picnic table, which I thought was awesome for seating. Since this place sleeps 16 people, you have all that seating. You have this seating, the fire table seating as well, and then the front porch seating and the 2 grills. We some of the feedback we got from guests was, hey, love the propane, love to have something different. We would love to have a smoker or a charcoal grill. So the owner actually took that feedback to heart, put in this Oklahoma Joe smoker. This isn't a cheap smoker. Like, this thing is awesome. It's been great. And then obviously we have the propane grill. We always keep extra propane on site so guests can enjoy that. So that's some of the things we've added here on the outside, along with some aesthetic things like putting the sign up for White Oak Landing. He's added this board game here. If you see that ring toss game on the wall, it's actually like a bags game, but you throw these rings and they catch on those hooks on the wall. It's pretty fun. Yeah. Want to go in?
Yep.
Let's roll. So, a couple updates. We had some guests that talked a little bit about the water being hard, which, if you know the lake, the water's hard here. It just is. So the homeowner actually added an entire home water filtration system. So not only can you feel really good about drinking the water out of the sink, which you could anyway, but the reality is it's a much softer water. The shower heads aren't going to get clogged up. They're not going to be stopped full of hard stuff, which you're going to get here sometimes. And that's something you shouldn't have to worry about when you come. The other thing I'll tell you that we've really done well is we partnered with this local coffee company. It's called Firefly Valley Farms. And if you're ever in Camdenton, Missouri, make the chance to go stop and see them, because Dax is awesome.
And go check out one of our previous videos where we highlighted them.
Oh yeah, you did highlight Dax. Great company. We partner with them. So all of our properties are going to have these great coffee bags. And most of our properties have some sort of a coffee pot and Keurig.
Both.
Yep. People have preferences.
Yep.
Secondly, you'll see these weird coffee pods. There's no labels on them. These are all locally made and sourced coffee pods. Now the coffee source obviously comes overseas, but they're all made here and grinded here and baked here. So Firefly. Check them out. They're great. So we updated that, and this homeowner loved the coffee, the idea, and we've really for our what I would call our properties that are going to be premier and have a lot of people in them. We wanted to offer that to people. So we have really good coffee. You don't have to go down the road. You can do it right at the house.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's great.
Now, one of the unique things about this property is not only does it sleep 16, but it also has 2 kitchens and 2 living rooms. This is living room number 1.
This is number 1, and they've updated the decor in here a little bit. They added some new photos on the wall. I mean, it's very homey. You'll see that the homeowners really take pride in their experience. They're starting to add these fall decorations. If you want to stay at Christmas, we'll put some Christmas stuff out. Like, this homeowner in particular really wants to create phenomenal experiences for the guests. And so if you're looking for a place that you're going to come and really know you're going to have a good time, you're not going to have any problems, you're going to stay, you're going to have a great time with a lot of people, this is the perfect spot, especially in the fall season. When you think about the hot tubs and the things outside, and there's still a place to go swimming if it's early enough. So you can check out the other living room too. Living room number 2, yet again, updated decor. You'll see the fall theme continue with out here. There's literally 2 air conditioning settings. There's 2 kitchens. So you could really get with a group of friends and split this thing up, 2 families easily, 3 families potentially, and sleep. The other cool thing about what I just said is you're not coming here with 16 people and sleeping on just a bunch of pull-out mattresses or air mattresses, right? You're coming here to sleep. You're going to get a bed.
There's more than 1 king size too, right?
There's 2 kings, and then several queens, and then you have this massive Murphy bed, which was added. We had another bed, and the homeowner said, I want people to be comfortable. And so we added this one. I'll pull it down for you. Oh,
Nice.
whole other Murphy bed right there. All the sheets and everything you need. This has to go down, obviously, to stay up, but all the sheets, pillows, and towels, obviously, that you need. And so that's really a nice addition. The property comes with, when you come, you don't have to bring your beach towels. We got you covered. When you get out of the hot tub, you've got towels. No need to do that. Obviously, full laundry. And the other thing about the whole water filter, we wanted to make sure that when guests wash their clothes or things here, that it had good, clean water to wash clothes. Hard water can cause different stains, so we want to make sure that happens. So, yeah, it's a great place. And yet again, whole nother kitchen. Guess what? You got anything from a Ninja to cook with to the stovetop, another Keurig back here. So it's stocked full of things to do. You ought to feel just at home while you're here. There's nothing you need to really bring except for yourself and your clothes.
All right, Zach, how does somebody book White Oak Landing or any of your other properties?
Yeah, so you want to book White Oak Landing, I tell you what, challenge everyone, go Google White Oak Landing, Lake of the Ozarks. I bet you find us. And any of our other properties, you can go to grandwelcome.com, search for Lake of the Ozarks. You'll find every one of our properties. We're also on Airbnb and VRBO. I guarantee you'll find us. We're out there.
And did you hear what he just said? He said that if you Google this property, you will find it. The challenge is if you rent on your own or you use another short-term rental company and you Google your property, will you find it?
Thank you for watching another episode on the Lake of the Ozarks Lifestyle Channel. And remember, if you are looking to buy, sell, rent, invest, vacation, pretty much do anything at the Lake of the Ozarks, we've got you covered. Shoot me a message and I will make sure to get you connected to the right people to make sure that your experience at the Lake of the Ozarks is an incredible one. Thank you for your loyalty to our channel. Don't keep us a secret. Make sure you share this with other people that would be interested. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button. See you on the next one.